probably it's a hard one for you to answer. Where does the Health Act come in now? Because I've said that this whole operation is championed by the Ministry of Health. It's championed by the Ministry of Health who are leading. What does the Health Act say?
As I said, actually right now is not being fully recommended because there's an international shortage of masks and PPE. What they're saying is social distancing should be number one as long as you're not treating anyone or interacting with anyone. Masks and PPE should right now be reserved for the front line. And if you have the luxury of having access to it, as long as you're not competing with frontline services for access to it, then you can utilize the mask. So I think fortunately here in Zimbabwe there will be local production, which is going to make it a lot easier. So the public are being encouraged to wash their hands and to practice social distancing. Even after the lockdown, we may have to practice social distancing and this controlled access to public facilities for another 1 to 2 months. So that's the guidance that's there. And you are right, if police and health departments see that any shop, it doesn't matter if it's the big shops or the small ones, are not complying, an order for closure can actually be written by the local authority with the help of police.
In agents, President, what if right? But you can get some masks in your group. There's got to be some ways of having to do this, and the imimi compliance in the manje mukasaita izvozvo is not let's say. These things door to door. There's going to be a time frame in which we have to do this, so we are just waiting on you to give us the lines, and once we have the lines, then we'll basically have it moving. Yes, maybe.
We have a hearing impairment, and those with the visual impairment, we need to tailor-make the communication to them. But the challenge also is that you don't necessarily find people with disabilities evenly spread in an area. We need to identify where we can get them. So there may be need for targeted communication for people with disabilities. People with physical challenges, fine. They can read posters. They can watch information on TV or hear information on radio. But people with hearing impairment, they may not be as able as others, together with people with visual impairment. So there may be need for targeted communication.
And we also have to utilize their manual since it's been working for quite some time.
Yeah, you see, we can go a step further by even having radio adverts, which we can sponsor, but clearly say this is for the Norton people. But you can use these lines, and those can be repeat. And with social media, with radio and so forth, it can be done. The information will get to the people. What we must be sure about is information dissemination. And I think through the team and through the people of Norton, that can be done. Whether we give my flyers to the councillor to go and distribute door to door in his ward, that's part of their team too. And those flyers can be done. This is where the media and communication aspect is equally there. Mr. Masaya, the disabled people, you really haven't said we'll be comfortable and understand we can phone this, and then serious information dissemination with the number here Norton Town Clinic, we also include it there. There were people with inhalers going around and talking to the people. The training, the junior councillors come through with the relevant people. There is that the information that is required for them to check through. All that is done by the experts. Already, like I said, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Norton Town Council, under the wise leadership of Dr. Muka, has that in place. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. They just give us that. And that's basically what we use. Like we say, we just polish up here and there. It's not new. They've done it. They've been ahead. That's the beauty of sitting down like this, that once you think you're going to start it again, it's there already. The information is there. So we start to just operate from that point. I don't know, Doc, what do you think? It comes through. We need to be ahead. You are able to do 20 lines.
She was telling me that those lines, the toll-free lines, they are no longer getting through. They are congested. Yes. So I think that approach is a good pre-planning. We have a line per ward. I'm in support of that.
So you have a line per ward, then you probably too. Because we're trying to use the state-owned communications thing to be in the forefront of this. So we've also got to have net ones because people use WhatsApp call. It's cheaper, and so forth, and all that, and it's about how many lines we want. I don't know if they did visit the place.
No, they haven't visited yet. We spoke yesterday.
Yes.
And based on the anticipated traffic, we suggested maybe 2 lines would be enough. I don't know.
2 is not enough.
It's not enough.
2 lines, no, I would not go for 2 lines. Yeah, I would not go for 2 lines. Especially if it's not a toll-free number. You know, people, of course, somebody's engaged, they wait. I mean, I was basically looking at least. This was my thinking. When I think of the whole constituency. It was 16 wards. I was thinking of 16 lines. Okay, and basically, what I'm basically trying to say in disseminating information, these people in this ward, you can use this line. These people in this ward. So there's got to be serious, but of course common sense would also prevail. If I cannot get through to this line, you cannot ignore somebody having to call. But you're basically dedicating a line to a ward. Because there are also those in certain wards who want to also volunteer, clinical experts, and they're also there in the areas. You see, because you're also looking at the logistical aspect of saying, okay, we've got them, the PPEs are in place and so forth, because there's got to get to a stage where you probably visit that place. And in that ward, if there are those people in there, they're able to go to that address. They're trained, they've gone through the necessary thing. So it also helps. I mean, that was my thinking, just thinking, and which is subject, of course, to, but like I said, when I think of, I said, okay, maybe what 13 rural has got this doctor who's there and so forth, with the contacts who are the volunteers there who can do this and that and so forth. Can you go and check that person up in a well-coordinated approach and so forth? If making sure that the necessary PPEs are in place. I don't know. That's what my thinking was and so forth. Within Wi-Fi being there, fully being there and so forth, a lot more can be achieved. Video calls can be done. You see, we were moving to a stage where, if at all, it requires the experts to do a video call. So be it. I mean, board meetings today have been held through video calls, Zoom, this and that. And then ultimately, it does not even stop you from actually with where we are with social media, even getting information from other countries who probably would have faced that, and a certain doctor somewhere even phoning in and saying, but try this. Speaking to the right people. That was my thinking. This was my thinking. When I think of the whole constituency. It was 16 words, I was thinking of 16 lines. Okay. And basically, what I'm basically trying to say in disseminating information, these people in this ward, you can use this line. These people in this ward. So there's got to be serious, but of course common sense would also prevail. If I cannot get through to this line, you cannot ignore somebody having to call. But you're basically dedicating a line to a ward. Because there are also those in certain wards who want to also volunteer, clinical experts, and they're also there in the areas. You see, because you're also looking at the logistical aspect of saying, okay, we've got them, the PPEs are in place and so forth, because there's got to get to a stage where you probably visit that place. And in that ward, if there are those people in there, they're able to go to that address. They're trained, they've gone through the necessary thing. So it also helps. I mean, that was my thinking, just thinking, and which is subject, of course, to, but like I said, when I think of, I said, okay, maybe what 13 rural has got this doctor who's there and so forth, with the contacts who are the volunteers there who can do this and that and so forth. Can you go and check that person up in a well-coordinated approach and so forth? If making sure that the necessary PPEs are in place. My thinking was and so forth, within Wi-Fi being there, fully being there and so forth, a lot more can be achieved. Video calls can be done. You see, we were moving to a stage where, if at all it requires the experts to do a video call, so be it. I mean, board meetings today have been held through video calls, Zoom, this and that. And then ultimately it does not even stop you from actually, with where we are with social media, even getting information from other countries who probably would have faced that, and a certain doctor somewhere even phoning in and saying, but try this. Speaking to the right people. That was my thinking.
And then for the toll-free number, that one we have to ask, because we already had a toll-free number for the Ministry of Health, so we will need to reconfigure a different number, which is different from the Ministry of Health number. So I wouldn't know about a toll-free number for Norton only.
Just look into that. So I think maybe we can, on the agenda, what is it that we have not, I think a lot has been exhausted. I think we can just go through it now and see what is it that we think.
We still have to discuss the establishment of a call center.
Yes, I think we are there now. So maybe can I allow a chairman with the committee that you're putting is really second to thing none at the end of the day. And I believe you just coming out here.
Patakanosia mama gloves bababu. Mama purisa anga kutinedza kuti mauya kuzoita panapa. Tikati aiwa tatuya kuti titokupa izvo zvokuti mubatsirike. So I think it is important kuti mutaurire dare riri panapa kuti what provision is there, so that people they can move. Of course tizvichengetedza sekutaura kwazvaitwa muno. Ndichidaro maybe ndogona kuti kuda kuti ngotara chekupedzera kuna Dr. Muga. From what I've seen, Doc, I think who council maybe a lot of information probably that we have done in terms of equipping people, etc. But I think we would need, for liaison purposes, we would need someone, a dedicated person whom you what not can together something you must we can flag out information here. You also get a flag information back. I think one of that. Maybe those two issues
where constantly people are being reminded in each ward. The junior councillors are there the PPEs, they're going around with airlines talking to the people. And I phone my numbers, I know that. So that media communication strategy is quite needed. So it's also my officers, in terms of my PPE, Makamira say. No, we realize that. That's why we said the washable ones are quite important. Ndakaona ukuru wenyu ndakafara ukuru wenyu mapurisa ngori kokukatsi chitora pamwe chete kana zvimapurisa da chitora zviri like new debate pa confidence. So we thought you could department kwenyu we need to know how many police officers are at the camp so that each one of them has one. So I think the quicker we have that procurement and liaison, in terms of that, we should be no stringent conditions whatsoever for a member of parliament not to go around. It is impossible. It's my constituency. I'm not going beyond this area and so forth. So that will be done, and I think they will understand that. But let me write a letter with all the committee members there so that at least they have that letter. And I think I think it makes sense. I think allow me. Dr. Mira Indidaro, kuti nindonyora tsana. Zvipitirei nani kuti andoma members and ushanda nawo muno. Panguva ino panenge pane lockdown. Pane zvimwe zvinofanira kuita semiriri wevanhu. And so forth. Andigoni ndichizviita kuti vari kundimirira panguva ino. Saka ndokuti ndichanyora tsamba nemazita acho so that moziva kuti ndo vari kuita basa. But andifunga kuti pari zvinonetsa hazvo nekuti tinoshanda mushe zvakanaka, saka varingokumbirawo kuti pavanofambawo vanenge vachiitawo basa iri so forth, unless andifunga kuti vanhu vanga.
Secondly, no unnecessary gatherings around shopping centers, around warehouses and that. Thirdly, we're told to enforce opening and closing hours. But the issue of protective equipment, we're told nothing about it.
They have volunteered with their vehicles. I've put them in that group so that instructions when they come, they can just pick it up with, no, I'm close to this area. So that's why I need more vehicles in that group. So if you can help, if there's anyone else who is out there who can help, that would be good for the team. Thanks.
To communicate officially on behalf of Norton Town Council when it comes to COVID issues. So I'll make sure that any information, I'm the one who will be liaising with the committee. Any information to you, public relations will be sending, yes, the public notices and public communication. But any information in terms of operations and what needs to be done directly to your task force, I'm the one who will be doing that, and information vice versa.
Chairman, is there any
Down of our resolutions so that we know what is supposed to be done.
It's important.